Good evening, I'm Michael and you're watching Kini News. In an exclusive interview with Malaysia Kini and KiniTV this morning, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad responded to the comments made by his former political secretary, Zahid Md Arif, that the Sheraton Move supposedly made Dr. Mahathir the happiest person. In the interview, he also had something to say about Anwar Ibrahim.
Zahid Md Arif ni is the biggest liar, pembohong terbesar dalam politik di Malaysia. Dia dulu sokong Anwar, lepas itu tolak Anwar, sokong saya, lepas itu tolak saya, lepas itu cuma untuk kepentingan diri dia. Untuk itu dia sanggup bohong bermacam-macam. Ya, dia cuba nak guna saya untuk kepentingan dia, pasal dia ada masalah. Jadi saya tak dapat tolong. Saya kata di Malaysia ni kita go according to the rule of law. Kita tak berilah siapa parti punya orang ke bukan ke. Kalau salah, salah lah. Tapi dia marahlah pasal itu. Dia nak cuba tukar kerajaan supaya dia selamat. Dan benarlah sekarang ni dia selamat lah. Dengan itu dia kerjasama dengan Hamzah. Hamzah adalah daripada UMNO dan Hamzah masuk bersatu. Syarat masuk bersatu ini orang daripada UMNO tak boleh main peranan yang utama dan tak boleh pegang jawatan. Kalau masuk pun tak boleh bertanding. Itu syarat kita. Tetapi dia dapat convince Muhyiddin bahawa dia mempunyai perancangan yang baik, dan iaitu untuk mewujudkan satu kerajaan baru, ganti Pakatan Harapan. Jadi untuk ini Zahid Md Arif memang seronok lah. Dia kalau tukar kerajaan mungkin dia selamat. Jadi dia bekerja dengan Hamzah untuk nak jatuh PKR. Kononnya kena nak jatuh Pakatan Harapan, kerana kononnya Pakatan Harapan ini dikuasai oleh DAP. Tak benar sama sekali. Jadi kalau dia dapat tukar kerjaan, mungkin dia terselamatlah. Jadi untuk ini dia cuba nak pujuk saya, tapi saya tak pernah ikut dia. Saya dengar apa dia kata, tapi tentang saya nak nak bagi Anwar kalah, nak bagi DAP jatuh, semua tu tak benar. Saya tak ada masalah dengan DAP. Anwar ada masalah dengan saya tak ada masalah dengan dia.
Musa Aman was not given a seat under BN. If you're wondering why, Bung Mokhtar has the answer. UMNO will be contesting 31 out of the 73 state seats in Sabah, but Musa Aman is not on the list. According to Sabah BN chief Bung Mokhtar, the reason Musa was not given a seat was simply because he didn't ask for one.
Soal Datuk Tan Sri Musa, actually Tan Sri Musa tidak pernah memohon untuk menjadi calon Barisan Nasional. So clear. Kita sentiasa menghormati mana-mana pemimpin termasuk Tan Sri Musa. Cuma dia tidak pernah pun memohon untuk menjadi calon kepada Barisan Nasional. Itu dia punya isu.
Asked if BN took the initiative to offer a seat to the incumbent Sungai Sibuga Assembly person, Bung said this was not done. His explanation came after the unveiling of UMNO's list of candidates for the September 26 state election. Musa, a long-time UMNO warlord, had contested in Sungai Sibuga under UMNO and BN since 1994. Musa was ousted as Chief Minister after the 2018 general election, also through defections. He was previously seen as a rival to Bung and a possible chief ministerial candidate if BN can win a majority of seats in the upcoming state election. Meanwhile, Bung denied that BN is dominating its coalition partners in the state polls.
Okay, soal dominan or not, actually BN bukan dominan, but we are on one gagasan. So no issue wanted to be a chief minister on or what.
Bung also said he was confident BN can win in the upcoming state polls. Until the candidates are formally fielded on nomination day, changes are still possible. PKR only received half the seats it expected, but according to Shafi Abdal, winning these state polls is more important than a party's dignity. Warisan President Shafi Abdal had informed PKR President Anwar Ibrahim that the main objective is to win the Sabah state elections when the pair discussed seat allocations. Anwar reportedly visited Shafi's house last weekend in an attempt to negotiate more seats for PKR.
Saya beritahu saya sudah bagi dulu banyak tapi menang 2 saja. Ini bukan musimnya kita mau bagi kursi, ini musimnya kita mau menang pilihan raya. Bukan persoalannya, our party will be looked down if we have smaller number. Bukan dignity party itu yang menjadi keutamaan kita. Is the dignity that we want to win this election is more important.
The Warisan, Pakatan Harapan and UPCO alliance today unveiled their candidates for the Sabah election. An inspection of the candidate list showed that PKR appeared to have received only half the seats it expected. Yesterday, Sabah PKR had announced that it would contest 14 seats. However, it turned out that the party had only been allocated 7 seats. Shafi said that despite PKR not getting the number of seats they expected, he hoped that they will continue to uphold their cooperation with Warisan and the other allies during the election. However, he said they are prepared for whatever consequences they might face in the election. The candidates list today revealed that Warisan will be contesting a total of 46 seats. For DAP, they will contest the same 7 seats it did in the 2018 general elections, while Amanah was given 1 seat. UPCO was allocated 12 seats, up from the 7 in the last general election. The number of active cases continue to rise. Today it's at 333. Here's the country's latest COVID-19 situation. The Health Ministry reported 45 new COVID-19 cases today. There was only one imported case involving a Malaysian citizen who returned from Brazil. Of the 44 local transmissions, 1 new case was detected in the Sungai cluster in Kedah and 2 cases for the Telaga cluster. Another case was detected at the Simpang Kuala Health Clinic in Kedah. The remaining 40 new local cases were from the Benteng LD cluster in Sabah. Health Ministry Director General Dr. Norisham Abdullah said the 40 cases were all detected in the Tawau prison. Meanwhile, in a press conference earlier today, Senior Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob said that the government will enforce the Administrative Enhanced Movement Control Order in 28 areas in Kota Setah, Kedah, from 12:01 a.m. tomorrow until September 25th. He said this was decided after taking into account the increase in positive cases involving Sungai and Tawau clusters in the district. The Tawau prison in Sabah would also be placed under an administrative EMCO. Ismail also announced that restaurants and convenience stores will be allowed to operate until 2 a.m. starting from tomorrow. Lim Guan Eng has advice for Zahid Zainul Abidin. DAP leader Lim Guan Eng has demanded the resignation of Deputy Communications and Multimedia Minister Zahid Zainul Abidin over the fiasco involving Sabah student Viviana Mosibin. Lim said Zahid's treatment of the teenager amounted to an ethical violation. The former finance minister said Zahid had repeatedly provided false information and liked to blame others to cover up his own failures. Zahid often advised others not to spread fake news with the phrase "not sure, don't share" in his capacity as Deputy Communications and Multimedia Minister. But Lim pointed out that Zahid himself violated that principle because he shared false news related to Viviana. The Bagan MP also slammed Zahid for accusing DAP of playing up the issue, which began when the Deputy Minister criticised Viviana in a speech in the Dewan Negara. Zahid has since apologised over the issue, saying he was not given correct information. The controversy surfaced when Viviana had posted a video in June showing herself in a treetop to get better internet coverage as she was studying for her exams. Zahid then accused her of lying about her exam schedule, only to apologise later, but not before passing the buck to Deputy Finance Minister Abdul Rahim Bakri for providing the wrong information. Coming up next, Astra Zenecas COVID-19 trial has been paused. Find out why after this. Astra Zenecas on Tuesday said it has paused a late-stage trial of one of the leading COVID-19 vaccine candidates. A highly anticipated vaccine for COVID-19 developed by UK drug maker Astra Zenecas has been put on hold for a safety review after a participant showed a suspected serious adverse reaction during trials. Astra Zenecas, which is developing the vaccine with Oxford University researchers, said it had paused the late-stage trials to allow an independent committee to review safety data, and it was working to minimize any potential impact on the timeline. The patient was reportedly suffering from neurological symptoms associated with a rare spinal inflammatory disorder. On Wednesday, they said a final diagnosis was still pending as more tests are carried out. Astra Zenecas has been seen as a frontrunner in the vaccine race, and in May, the United States secured almost a third of its first 1 billion doses. It has already agreed to supply close to 3 billion doses to governments across the globe, which is more than any other vaccine project. The company also confirmed on Wednesday that it had briefly suspended the vaccine trial in July after a study volunteer was found to have multiple sclerosis. The independent review panel conducted at the time concluded that it was not related to the vaccine. Britain's medical regulators said it is urgently reviewing available information to determine whether trials can restart as quickly as possible. The Financial Times quoted people associated with the trial as saying it could resume early next week after the study's independent data monitoring board has investigated. AstraZeneca did not comment on when the trial might restart. The trial pause follows reports that the US was aiming to fast-track authorization or approval for a vaccine before November's presidential election. Leading US and European vaccine developers on Tuesday pledged to uphold scientific safety standards for the experimental vaccines and not bow to political pressures to rush the process. AstraZeneca's late-stage US trial, with a targeted 30,000 participants, was launched last week. If you're a health frontliner, you know how hard it is to wipe your sweat or get that itchy spot with all that protective gear. Now there may be a solution. 3 Vietnamese school students have designed a helmet that allows frontline health workers to have a snack or even scratch their nose without exposing themselves to the risk of coronavirus infection. The pandemic has thrown a spotlight on the trade-off at times between the comfort and safety of protective personal equipment, especially for workers who are required to suit up in such outfits for hours on end. To address this problem, students were set a challenge to design a helmet connected to a respirator that not only protects but allows frontline workers to remain productive for longer. The group came up with the WeHelm. It has a glove box access, so a wearer can fit their hand inside and, for example, wipe sweat off their face or clean a visor while keeping the helmet sealed.
The cooperation between VHelm and Vin Group makes us very happy because our group's goal is to get the product into the hands of the people who need them as soon as possible and to provide the people who are working at the front lines a safe and more comfortable working experience.
The futuristic-looking helmet also has an internal compartment that can hold a snack for a frontline worker and is attached to a tube to a powered air-purifying respirator to exclude contaminated air. While such respirators are considered significantly safer than standard masks, they can be far more uncomfortable than other forms of PPE. The WeHelm, which currently costs under $300 to make, even has pockets around the head area that allows users to give the area a scratch if the device starts rubbing in the area. WinSmart, a unit of Vietnam's largest conglomerate, Win Group, that has been producing ventilators, has signed an agreement to help the students mass-produce their final version of the helmet. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. We'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Musa Aman. Thank you for watching.